Okay, Mrs. Thompson, how old were you when the war began?
I was just about 18 when the war started. I was going to school.
Okay, what was it like to be a teenager in the war?
Well, there was no social life whatsoever. I remember my mother saying when she was about that same age in the first war than I was now. So there were no movies. You couldn't go anywhere. So I stayed in school. I got my diploma in 42 when I was 20 years old almost. There was nothing to do, but a lot of girls quit school. My parents forced me to stay. I guess I'm thankful in a way, but it was hard.
Mrs. Thompson, could you please describe to me the conditions you lived in?
We were pretty well starved and cold in the winter. It just happened the winters were very cold during the war, and there was no cold. I remember in our school we were in one big class with our gloves on and our coats on, tried to keep warm, but it was no use.
Did you have any relatives that were involved in the war?
Yes, not in the army, but with the underground certainly. Of course I did not know at the time.
Can you describe to me what a normal day was for you?
A normal day, you get up with fear, wonder if you are going to finish the day alive. Went to school until 42, and sometimes I did not reach school until later on because the siren started and I went to a shelter. That is how I spent most of my days, going back at noon with a little bit to eat, going hungry again back to school, work hard, try to pass my exams. That's it. There was no entertainment whatsoever.
Did you ever have to go into hiding?
No, I almost did. Everything was organized. It would not have been in my house, but it would have been somewhere in the Ardennes. And I was lucky that I was provided with a false Belgian government certificate when I went to see the Germans. I was supposed to go to work, but that certificate did work. The 3 Belgian girls who were ahead of me had to pass the medical with German doctors right away, so they were not that lucky. I remember when I went back home, it was in February, and my father and mother had the curtains open waiting for me to come back, and they could see right away on my face that everything was okay.
Did you have a curfew?
Yes, we had curfew from 8 o'clock at night until 6 in the morning. My father had a special pass because he was starting about 3:30 or 4 in the morning.
Did you ever have any come home late or any encounters with Germans at night?
I did not come back too late, except, well, one time, it must have been about 7:30, two German soldiers left their hiding place and had away with their guns in front of me, searched me all over. I don't know if they figured I had a gun or what. I don't know. I had a big scare that time.
Did you lose any friends or family members due to the war?
Yes. The first day of the war, I lost 3 of my relatives, father and mother, and the youngest of 8 children. They were in a train coming back from Verviers going to Liège, which is not out too far, but the Stuttgart came and machine gun everybody in the train was killed. I lost many friends. They were taken off the streets. Some of them were for underground, some were not. That is why, to this day, I cannot watch on TV anything with concentration camps, because I'm so afraid I will recognize somebody I knew.
Did you have any Jewish friends?
No. A neighbor was Jewish and he escaped through our house one time because 2 Gestapo were walking up and down where he was living. He wanted to go warn his wife not to come back, had away with the baby. But one night, it was about midnight in the summertime, my bedroom window was open and so was theirs, and I could hear talk German. So I got up and looked, and sure enough there were 2 Gestapos, and she was dressing their 8-month-old little boy. They left and they never came back. They had a 10-year-old girl, and she managed to escape. She knew where to go to some friends. They did not turn the hall light on purpose so she could escape easier, which she did. And it's lucky that the 2 Gestapo were there, that nobody was waiting in the car, no German, or she would not have been able to get away either.
How did you feel and how do you feel towards the Nazis and the Germans?
Extremely bitter. It was hard for me even after I came to Canada to meet somebody who was German, but I came to realize that they have as much right to live in Canada as I do. But the Germans and the war, no, I will never forget them. I never feel sorry for them at all. They have been bombed a lot, and I've never felt sorry for them.
What was your biggest fear in the war?
Fear of my life. You never knew whether you were going to go back to bed at night at home. And fear for all my relatives, fear that we would be bombed or taken. The hunger was bad. We were hungry all the time. And cold in the winter. But we survived.
When was Belgium liberated?
I will never forget that day. That was the biggest day of my life. on the 3rd of September in 1944. So we were under German occupation for over 4 years. And you have no idea how wonderful that was. We were liberated by the English